Levin, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I looked at all of your robots, but not just robots, all of your art, I should say, in pictures, and then I got here and seeing them in person, they're even cooler. So
right, they are fun.
I'm really pumped to talk to you about your process, but when did you get into metalworking to begin with?
Well, it was about 4 years ago. I started welding at my grandpa's shop, and the robots came just naturally because I've been an artist pretty much my whole life. So painting and drawing was always like my thing I really started out with, and then once I got into work and working full time, metal just kind of fell into the whole scheme of the art, and so I started robots. Artbots is the name of the business actually. Started them just kind of out of a typewriter. I think it was a typewriter, the first thing I found. It was just thrown away in the scrap bin. I'm like, why would you throw this away?
Yeah.
So I got it out of there, took it home, I started taking it apart in pieces and parts, and just ideas started happening, and I knew how to weld at that point, so I started piecing them together and started, continuing to make the robots. Grew into more than a hobby, It's more than a hobby now, it's more of a job at this point, but they're fun, they're still fun.
So when you started taking apart that first typewriter and you're looking at all of these different pieces, did you immediately look at one piece and say, oh, that would make a great...
Yes, like a head or an arm.
Yeah.
That's how it always happens. And then there's pieces like I always continuously find of the same piece, and those are always good to find the same part, so you kind of know what to expect out of it,
Right.
So it's fun to find the correct piece, especially the really intricate pieces, the one where you can kind of keep them together and figure out, like a body or a head or an arm, or a leg.
When you find these cool parts and you think, okay, that would be a cool body, that would be a cool head, is there ever a challenge as to how you're going to get them together? Obviously you weld them, but knowing nothing about welding, I don't know how difficult that process is.
It actually is very difficult, especially with some of the smaller teeny welds.
Sure.
Or like a thin piece to a really heavy piece. That's tough too, because I have to do a lot of that. So there's some fabrication that goes into it where I have to make my own head. It always doesn't come easy, There's a lot of cutting, there's a lot of grinding. I've ran into that sometimes where it's not steel, because the equipment I use, it only welds to steel. So there's sometimes I'll run into aluminum parts and you'll hit it with the welder and it'll just, you do some funny, weird stuff because it doesn't you have to do a specific type of welding to each type of metal almost. Typically I know, but then again, there's some times where it's coated in a paint or something and I have to get through that and then try it, and then it's like, oh, that didn't work, and then that idea's out the door. But there's some plastic stuff that it'll be attached to a steel part, or some wood that's attached to a steel part, and then I'll weld the steel part onto it using the wood and the other stuff like that.
Yeah. So where do you get your materials? I know the first typewriter was discarded, but is that how everything works?
Almost. There's a lot of free stuff that people have given to me, so like they know that I'm doing this, and then they'll be like, here's like this or that. There's sometimes where I've made a custom job for somebody, and I did it for a cash register, which I just recently did. Actually, that's what
I was
the numbers
ask
on
what
that
the
guy.
numbers are.
Yeah, that's out of a cash register, and they had, I think there was a son. It was kind of a gift for their son, but they were going to give me the cash register for payment of it. So it was a basketball player and like a little basketball robot guy I made for him. I think their son played basketball. But so super cool stuff like that.
So tell me how hard it is to do commissions. When somebody comes to you and says, hey, I have this in mind, is it tough for you to then translate their vision?
Sometimes I get skeptical on what did they want to see and then what did I make, but they always end up just happy. I think it almost doesn't matter, because they knew that me being the artist, that they would want me to just do it my way or something. But if they're specific, then I kind of get, I'll ask them, did you want them a specific stance or doing something specific? So I'll ask those questions sometimes too as well.
I love that your business is called Artbots, because when I think of the word robot, it doesn't really evoke anything to me.
Right, especially art,
Yes, but when I see your pieces, it doesn't just look like art to me, they look so happy.
Yeah, and realistic, like they could almost start.
Yeah. So is that intentional, or has that just is that just always the aesthetic that has come out?
I like to have the happy look. I've made a sad one before, which someone got it like that. I mean, it was, someone really liked it. But yeah, I usually go with the happy or excited, or like, even a scared, like, oh, look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done so many. It's amazing how many I've done and like that are gone now, and I wish I had them. I wish I had them back. There's so many good ones that like, I'll sell it and I'm just like, dang it,
So in addition to making art bots, you
Yes.
also make them into functional pieces, like you do a lot of lamps.
Yes.
Okay, so when did that start?
Well, actually, really, I didn't do any lamps until really later on, and I think it was just like a little spot lamp, headlamp thing, and I made a sitting guy with it, and that was his head. It almost everyone said it reminded them of the Pixar.
Pixar, sure.
Yes, yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'll leave it up to the customer, kind of how they want to depict it. Sometimes they'll name them, they'll name them sometimes and stuff like that. So, but some of them have names, like I've named them myself, like that guy over there, his name's Todd, because it says it on the emblem on the front. So if there's something that, makes sense, that's his name,
So you sort of answered this when you said that you look back on the pieces you've sold and some of them you regret getting rid of. Do you end up falling in love with these little guys?
Yes, and I'm always glad I got pictures of them, because I can always go back and look at like, oh, like that one, I love that one, and show people as well. But yeah, there's definitely been some ones that were my favorites that are sold and gone, and it's there's a commission one is my favorite one. A guy gave me his motorcycle parts and said, here, make me a robot with these, and I made my coolest like Gundam. He's like a Gundam style kind of guy. Super cool. He had a big gun thing, and yeah, he was awesome. It was a really good one.
Do you ever try to replicate something that you've done? I imagine that's hard because you don't have all the same pieces.
Right, yeah.
But if you wanted to do something similar to that, would you be able to?
Yes, I keep the consistency of like, the same size parts and pieces in the same, organized in a way.
Yeah. In your brain, that's all that matters.
It's all organized up there. So I know where that stuff's at, and yes, it makes it easier when I am conducting, like, okay, I gotta make 3 of these guys that are similar size, wise. So yeah, because the tall lamp ones, people really like those, and with the shades, it's got the shades on the top. They really love those, so I gotta continuously make them because, every Saturday at the market, I, run out about 1 or 2 or maybe 5,
Yeah. So. Start to finish, how long does a big one generally take to make, or does it just completely depend on the materials?
Parts and pieces for sure, because I can make half of it and then just run into, oh, I don't have like something that's like long enough to make the leg or to make, the arms, or I can't find the right piece. It just doesn't look right or something. So sometimes they can sit around for, a week maybe or so, but other times, if everything goes correctly, I can put, a tall one up, a bigger one up like this, probably within a day, I would say. Maybe like if I really, like a couple hours,
So what does happen if you get to a point where you don't think it looks right or you want a different piece? Do you just wait it out until you go, that's the piece?
Yes.
Or do you seek it out? Are you looking?
Well, sometimes I'll look for a little bit, and if I have no luck, then I'll just like, okay, I'm done. I gotta stop, and I just like take them and put them aside. And sometimes when I take them and put them aside, I'll start a new one, and then like, oh, that guy's like body is gonna work perfect for this one, and I just chop it off. Take it over the other one. So I'm switching a lot of pieces around. I'm like, consistently changing things, or if it's done, I'll know it's done. I don't know. It just kind of is like, okay, yep, he's good. It's done.
So what's the best part of creating your art bots and just your art in general?
I would say the people's reactions, and it's even somebody. I don't even care if they buy it. They just walk by and like, and I've gotten just like an older lady that she just like walked by and she just started laughing. I mean, hysterically. And I was just like, that's just awesome. That's just a great feeling. And the kids too. I mean, every kid that walks by, it's like, whoop, right there. They're right there looking at it. And the parents, don't touch.
Sure.
And I'm like, it's okay, you ain't gonna hurt them, it's okay.
Yeah.
So that's always funny. And
I imagine people try to pick out what pieces are what.
Yes, I have a lot of, especially the older guys, they're like, oh, I know exactly what that is. Like, oh, that's a valve, out of a, this and that. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. Good eye, like, it's amazing how, people can spot that stuff. And I think that helps, drag in the, the interest in it, you know.
Yeah.
So
You've mentioned being at the market and selling your pieces. Does the fact that it's a business make it a little less joyful to create?
I think now it's more rewarding because of the sales and the response I get from people. So it is definitely, it is better, but I feel like I have maybe a little crutch in my creativity because I have to do it now. You know,
Yes, yeah.
I didn't have to before, but now I kind of have to. In a way, I don't have to, but I like to.
Yeah.
So, and it is always fun. It's always very, you know, rewarding when you get a finished one and you're like, yes, that looks awesome. He looks so cool, and it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, it's a really rewarding feeling. So
Well, thank you so much for taking
Thank
the
you.
time,
I will.
and please keep creating because
I will, yes.
your happy art bots are really awesome.
Thank you so much.